Oh, right. I think we're live, dear
Yes.
Visionaries, for Visionaries Unlimited. This is a beautiful day. This is a
Yes.
hot day. And in this very hot day, I tell you that education needs to be not taken apart as the first thought that came to my mind, but taken opened up, like the possibilities that we have, the unlimited opportunities that we have nowadays in our society and civilization. They need to integrate it with what we are doing in education, and it is not being done, and education is still the same. We have the same education system of hundreds of years ago, and it's clearly not creating resourceful humans that are able to face the 21st century, third millennium challenges. So, Maria, what is that we went about, as this is part 2?
Yes.
Last time?
So the first day that we talked about education and what could be improved from our perspective, we mentioned how we felt that school, we were not. I mentioned that I felt kind of trapped there, and that it was, from my perspective, disrespectful that no one ever asked me if I want to invest 15 years of my life in that place, for example, or learning the subjects that were forced into me. I know that from people who think that is the best that they can offer me, but I know today that that is not the best that you can offer a human being, to just throw knowledge, so throw content created by other people and just say you have to learn this because then you will feel a complete human being. So I mentioned, I went through a little bit of that, and Ayrton said how he felt he was not prepared for life, for paying his bills, or even creating a business, and or living with another human being, raising a child, dealing with your emotions, like how you get yourself in challenging situations in life, and you have never been told how to, what the emotions are in the human body, and how, or the human being, and how to understand them, deal with them, and manage them in the best way. So we also thought that we were celebrating that at least some organizations or institutions are trying new things. I don't think the education is exactly the same to last century, but it's so similar. And the human being has, in some way, in technology, in neuroscience, like in so many fields, we've advanced quite a lot, and still feels like, when is all this information going to get into the education system? When? Because it is needed right now. It is needed already. We also mentioned the rates of suicides in adolescents being very high. And that obviously means that if children are not having these suicidal instincts, something is happening throughout the first 15 years of their lives that is obviously making a huge disharmony and stress within themselves to not to want to be here. Because that's what someone who wants to get away their lives is not someone who really wants to get to die. It wants to get out of here, which is different. Out of here.
And look, you said that. I mean, yes, thank you for this wonderful recap. I could have not done that better, for sure. And you said something interesting, and I'd like to pick on that something happens that makes them not to like want to be here. I'd say that something is not happening to support them in the life, in the daily that we inevitably face in our lives, in our cities, in our globalized interactions. And I saw something very interesting the other day. It was a TEDx, and I don't remember the title. And actually, I mean, the title was about good cities, good country. What is a good country? though without going much into the TEDx and the specifics of it, it was exploring some very interesting matter of how, yes, things are evolving and we are integrating stuff. We are integrating technology. But we're not changing the way we are thinking about things. It's still from the same mentality. I mean, if we go to Einstein, like this very I'm almost say cliche mainstream quote from him is that you cannot solve a problem from the mind that created it. And that's pretty much a little bit what is happening in education. I mean, that why, if me personally, together with other millions, I'm pretty sure, human beings, know that that the atom is not the ultimate material, like, structure of reality. Why are you still teaching that to kids? Tell me, why are you teaching to kids that the atom is the actual fundamental structure of reality because it's material? Why are you still teaching in this way? Yes, of course, atom is very important. Matter is made up of atoms. Why are you not speaking about the fact that energy makes up atoms and energy interacts, and the thoughts are energy and the tables are energy, and quantum physics, by the way, exists? Why are you waiting for it to be taught in university? Because you don't speak about quantum physics in school, primary school, elementary school, call it whatever school, until 10 years old. If you teach them, the kids, that, they come up and they know it as normal, as automatic, that's the normality for them. Imagine that a 5-year-old who's being taught about quantum physics because that's normal, it is normal, so normal. And if you teach them, it's like Native Americans. We had a beautiful intervention from one of our visionary community leaders in the community the other day. He Sifu Slim. He was given this intervention of living in the now, and he continuously referred to the shamans and to the medicine man of the
medicine woman,
Native American, medicine woman, I mean, it's a shaman, it's the figure, spirit in their culture that is continuously connected to nature. And he didn't go too much into that, but if I had to give an example, what they teach to their kids and how their kids grow up is that they know spirit. They connect to spirit. Spirit is something very normal, as much as history and Romans having founded the structures to our legal system, legal and let's say, now to make it very wide, but political system. So there's something not being integrated here.
Okay.
And last time we mentioned like kids and nature, like all these things, like it's very important to bring it in. And many countries are doing it, by the way. But Maria's got something. What do you have?
Yeah, it's very relevant. So I think until we don't overcome the intellectual battle between science and religion, it's going to be difficult, because the moment that you mention the word spirit, dear, for many people, it's already connected to what they understand of God and all things religious and spiritual. And those who believe to be very rational and very intelligent think of that, many people, as illusional in a way. But it's very funny to see that in science, the matter per se, that I had like a breakthrough when I think it was 4 years ago, when I was investigating deeply, wanted to find the answers to the great questions, and I was looking everywhere for them. Before, of course, I started just going within, but I was still looking outside, and I found out that in science, it is considered today, forgive me if I don't get the right percentage, but I think it's very accurate. So what makes up dark energy and dark matter is up to, I think it's 90, between 94 and 96, I'm not sure, percent of what scientists believe to be reality. And they don't know what it is. They cannot describe it or define it because it's constantly changing for one of the reasons, for example. So, and we have a society based on, for example, in many places, in many countries, or up until now, based on what is scientifically proven. When science has only been able to describe or understand 5% of reality, according to them. So that's pretty amazing. And then we have other countries where there's the religious beliefs, the ones that run schools and organization and so on and so forth. But the children didn't have the experience of them finding out what God is, or having the experience of God. They are told what God is. So we're in the same case here. You tell me what an atom is, or you tell me what God is, but we are in the same problem, that the child doesn't have the experience by herself, himself, or who they are and what they are doing here. Because when they are so young, you're throwing at them so much information about themselves that at some point they stop asking this question, not asking because the question is already within, they stop exploring this question, and they just get comfortable, as everybody is in society in general. Our society is based on what is normal, what is known, what is predictable, what is understandable, period. So children at some point, they pick from adults, okay, so this is what is kind of believed to be normal. We like the unknown, sorry, we like the known, we like the what is perceivable with our five senses. I'll go with this. And at some point they stop exploring the who I am and what am I doing here, which in the Native American tribes and other cultures, especially who live so connected to nature, that doesn't happen, because that's an ongoing experience with creation.
Mm-hmm. Look, there's a ton of experts, like globally renowned experts, very, very upheld people, humans, in different fields, and I'll just name them, and I'll say why I'm naming them, and then I'll see where these naming them and bringing them into the conversation can bring. But first of all, what comes to me, kind of going in order, there's Nassim Haramein, and he's a quantum physicist. He's a researcher, and he's the founder of the Institute of Research for Unified Sciences, and he's been nominated as a Nobel Prize for physics and for quantum physics, and he is a genius when it comes to explaining how we can practically use quantum science. He's going beyond with things like teletransportation and new engines based on
or telepathy or anything of that sort.
Yeah, he doesn't speak to telepathy, but no, he doesn't go to that direction, but he believes it's definitely totally real. Okay. And it is, by the way. So now there's Bronnikov, another expert. Bronnikov he's working on kids to actually develop their, I'd say, psychic abilities. He teaches them how to read with double blindfolded eyes, and he teaches them how to connect to the energy of this phone. blindfold them, close them in a room, looking at the corner, looking like they're blindfolded, but turn towards the corner. I take the phone from the other room and I go to a next like village, a next city close to where we are, and I drop the phone hidden in a random place, and then I go back to the kid and I ask the kid, where is the phone? Kid connects to the energy of the phone. Kid says it's not in this house. Kid says it's not in this city. Kid says we need the car. So you get onto the car. The kid drives you to the right direction and he brings you to the freaking phone. I mean, it's oh
it
my
has
God.
been proven. It has been proven.
Proven. I mean, done multiple times and taught to many kids, and many schools actually are doing that. Bronikov is one of them. And so Dr. Shefali, she's a conscious parenting expert, and very trendy right now. She's very powerful in the way she communicates. What she says in a very essential way is that we do not raise conscious kids, we raise conscious parents. So we shall stop inoculating our kids with our knowledge of limitation and misbelief, and actually listen to what the heck their intuition is saying, because that's golden and it's gonna get us out of the black hole of
Exactly.
whatever where we're going. And then Doctor, PhD, I don't know, whatever other title, I love you, Bruce Lipton.
Yeah.
I absolutely am not able to deliver on the why science, religion, spirituality, and science separated so much, and at what point it did, and how the history of all of this went. He is so terrifically masterful at actually giving you, like, showing you what happened there, like the names. Like I'm not as I was not a good student, so information didn't stick to my brain, like Bohr, like how the atom, and then how Leonardo da Vinci, and then Galileo, and then all these people, and then we don't see our Maria, but I'll keep going. I believe she's here, and like how it's separated, and we started believing that matter is reality, and how in reality we're more energy than matter. And then we go into a massive research being done hands-on by Dr. Joe Dispenza, another widely renowned human. I gave you names. I think, Maria, do you have them already? Like, do you have all the names that I gave eventually, like to put them into the description? I'll give them later to you. But
Deepak, for example, Deepak Chopra is another. I think he's a scientist or doctor as well, if I'm not wrong.
Deepak Chopra, yes. Oh my God, yeah. He's a scientist. He's a researcher. He's a doctor, and I mean, he's a meditation master. I don't know where he started from, but I think he started from science and he ended up into spirituality, and he brought them together. And now he's inevitably more into spirituality than into science, because he's trying to show his colleagues that they're missing out on something. I mean, all of this.
And do you know
where is it in education? Where is it? I wanted, so Maria asked me a very interesting question right before we went live. The question was, where would you take your kid to school? And I was like, I have this natural laugh coming out, and maybe it's arrogant, maybe it's I don't know what, but I don't care. That's what comes up. And it's like,
okay.
if I truly had a choice in this very moment, and I would create my own school. And by the way, I thought of it before Elon Musk created his own. I already thought of, like, I would create my own school. Unfortunately, I don't have his billions. And if I knew that he wanted to create his own, I would have gone to him and say, hey, fund mine. It's like going to these people, to the humans that I mentioned to you, and saying, hey, in July, I mean, this month of this year, you give a 3 days class for kids, for parents and for kids. We'll play with your knowledge, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and we'll implement it so that these kids learn it. And then the month after, we all go and travel to Egypt, and that's where we actually learn about Egyptians in the pyramids, while an expert in mythology and global mythology and all of this stuff, Matthias De Stefano, he's a mind-blowing guy, another name for you to check out, and he might sound a bit cuckoo if you want, because he's like,
it may sound really, for some people, I know, yeah,
totally. He speaks past lives and
other dimensions,
not just, but other dimensions, and not just past lives in like human form, but like, wow. And when he was speaking to me the first time, not personally, but I was like, this is so true. I just feel it in whatever part of me, right? And so I go to the pyramids, and I have Matthias De Stefano telling me who created the pyramids and who put the Sphinx in there 5,000 years before the actual Egyptian civilization. And then I move and I go to Bolivia, and I go there and I go and find the pyramids that are 1,000 years like older than the Sphinx, and I speak to someone else and I learn something, and I get Dr. Shefali there giving the parents how to let the kids express themselves and experience the truth, while our ego is not getting in the way of the best human possible they can be, because it's our ego, our habituated, structured, just grown up brain. I mean, what do you want? It's nothing wrong, nothing bad. Don't take offense, parents. I mean, I'm a parent. I know how it is. Like, I would love to let him do whatever he wants, but my ego gets in the way. It's like, cannot let you do that. It's like this to me. Like, I have to stop you. I have to stop you. But it's not. He's doing nothing wrong. So there's all this stuff. Okay, where are these in education? And I know I'm not giving any answer. I'm broadening possibilities and options, and trying to show that there's so much is not being integrated. And I wish you to pick it. If you believe you can implement, integrate, talk to us, see how we can do that together. Visionaries education, kind of visionaries school, academy, whatever you want to create it, you have the money to fund it, we're here. That's why we're doing these day in, day out. I mean, Tuesday in, Friday out. I'm complete, Maria.
Okay. So one quote by Nikola Tesla, genius, however you want to look at him, and people think of him as a scientist, but that's beyond that. Visionary with capital V, and just to me, like Einstein, for me, more and before than a scientist, Einstein was a visionary as well. And these people were in contact with the non-physical. They were downloading information, from my perspective, from the non-physical constantly. No. So Nikola Tesla said, some people are calling it the laws of physics. Some people are calling it God. As simple, dear, as that.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I wanted to share there. Which,
and can we say, like, about like this guy super shortly?
Yeah.
That before they were saying he was a crazy dude with some mad idea. Now they're basing the most advanced stuff on electromagnetism and much more on his discoveries. Parenthesis closed. Maria, continue.
Genius, visionary, and so what I learned that other people are doing things differently in education. For example, Elon is one case with Ad Astra, and I was surprised, very happily surprised, that, for example, one of the first things that he didn't do was separate children by age. So all of them, they get together into rooms for specific subjects, and they all interact with that subject to whatever their level of consciousness is. And they all work together in that way. He removed, for example, I was surprised, I didn't like that in the beginning, that he removed most of languages, because he said at some point you're going to have an immediate translator with you. So he said, I don't want to teach kids something that is going to be very soon replaceable by artificial intelligence, for example. Even though for me, I have learned many languages, I understand that, and it's very intelligent on one hand. On the other hand, I also believe that the brain develops itself magnificently by learning new languages. In my experience, that has been.
I do agree with that, yeah. and I mean there are different schools, right?
Yeah, of course. So then, what else did he do? So he put to play one instrument, to have like contact with music, and they played video games, so that they would have to be like very focused on stuff that in the video game that would require them many skills of the focus. And video games, I mean, if you're not doing too much, is still virtual reality that they would be at some point exposed to, and they could be kind of how would you say, like activating parts of the mind with the video game that are also very good. And they had a class that I think it was called Synthesis, that apparently it was the one that all of them liked the most, where they were put to solve real human problems, and they had to figure out solutions for that. And they think that they were like crazy about it. They all of them wanted to go to school, of course, because they felt like they were treated like adults in a way, like individuals, and that they care about, okay, you try to solve this, and they were having them really active in their minds, like thinking of solutions or figure out things. They had lots of things doing with, for example, mechanics as well. So they wouldn't learn from books. They have them put with pieces of things, and you have to create this, you have to solve that, you have to figure this out, like pure experience there constantly.
Yeah, every single time that I've been that I knew something, I mean, I knew it experientially. I knew it, how do you call it? There's a specific word, but now it's like it's not coming to me anyway. Like
intuitively, you mean? No.
Sorry.
Intuitively, no.
Not intuitively, but that I learned it by experience. Okay. Every single time that I learned something by experience, and that afterwards I would study it. I would study its dynamics, its functioning, studying how it works. It was so much easier to understand, and it strengthens so much my practical ability of the actual skill. I mean, I give the very basic example. You don't teach humans how to walk theoretically. You just
how to walk.
They see you. I mean, the kids actually see you, and they learn by experience, by trial and error.
Imitation.
Not falling down. Imitation. I'm missing words today, but
okay.
But yeah, by okay, they absorb it. They kind of absorb it. There's a very specific word. Now it's like, and what happens? It happens then top runners, athletes, they are taught the dynamics of the muscles and how they move and how their legs work. And if you ask Usain Bolt, apart from being terrifically strong in his human biology structure, so to speak, having trained a lot and so on and so forth, he knows every inch of how his legs are pulling and releasing the foot, the centimeters by centimeter, and how the leg extending is pulling the shoulder, lowering down. He knows that on a theoretical level. He studied that later to improve his ability that originally was learned experientially.
Naturally.
So we are working the other way around. And what he did at Astra partly is, I see, I love what you share, because it's because I do see that I am in a way. Today I was doing grocery, I was buying groceries with my kid, and of course he wanted to do what I would do, so we had a little pistol to tick 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 tick, and so I was letting him do that. Okay, take this codice a barre, like the barcode. This is a barcode, you need to center it. He did. After the third, he understood that he had to do it exactly at that point, and he was doing it. He was just taking the thing, he was taking the little pistol, tick, 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 papa, more. Okay.
I know, I have a meeting.
Yeah, like
that too, like, because sometimes you don't know when it's going to stop. The more. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the fun. So yeah, okay. Now, all of this said, how are we integrating this all in education? Do you have ideas? Do you have people with ideas? Do you have people who can invest into this and would like to have ideas? Maria, help me out here and close this up and wrap this up.
Okay, so I don't know how long it's been. Half an hour already.
32 minutes we are in. So yeah, help me out and wrap this up, because we're beyond the 30 minutes.
Okay. So we leave. I think we can do a
Let's call to action. Let's call to action. How do we better education? Visionaries.
Okay, I think first of all, if you are parents, observe, bring yourself down into the level of arrogance where when you relate to your kid, what the kid should do and what do you think is wrong and right. So as a parent, I think, and I'm not a mother, but I am an aunt, so I apply to myself exactly the same way. And so that would be like the most practical thing to do, like refrain yourself from thinking that the child should do or should be in the way that part of your mind has been taught to believe. Yeah. And then start observing others and start observing education from an alternative perspective. Just see if actually the way that we are raising children in humanity in general, is it the best way possible? And think of you also as a child, if you really felt respected and admired for who you were, or you felt like you were like a puppet in a way. And then many great ideas may come to you. Share it with people who are working in education, share it with us, like do something, start with the self-observation, then go into the observation of the outside, reflect, think of your experience when you were a child, reflect a little bit on it, and come up and allow yourself to be able to come up with ideas, because they will come to you.
Absolutely. Something super quick that happens when you interact with these new ideas with other humans, it might feel conflict, though consciousness, this is what also we are learning in a way with getting even clearer with the vision and so on and so forth. Conflict is something that consciousness loves to get to more clarity because it's one perspective coming together, clashing, frictioning until they find the actual matching,
the harmony,
of the wholeness of the two. And that becomes a very strong new network for and bridge for energy to pass on. And so don't be afraid of someone who might have different opinion from yours, but share what you got. Don't keep it for yourself. A vision cannot grow if it is not shared. And this is from Vishen Lakhiani, founder of Mind Valley, another mind-blowing human being. There's so many mind-blowing human beings that are sharing their knowledge, and it's so counterintuitive. They're bringing it into education, and it's not the education we've been in. Do what Maria said.
For example, and you and I, we do a part 3 because this.
I think I was thinking the same at the very beginning of this. Like this will go on, kind of. I'm loving to do this, and
the educational show will go on.
Oh yes, visionary education. Part 3 coming soon. Until then, stay visionary. Share your vision, share your ideas, get in touch with us. You have ideas, you have a vision. Visionaries community is here for you, Maria and I.
Yes.
Namaste. I don't know, it came out actually now. Namaste.
Why not? Namaste.